Hi everybody, I'm here. I did not get this set up as early as I usually do because I was distracted and time has no meaning, but happy Thursday. I'm in the living room today, which is weird. Britt's here with me, which is nice. I just honestly did not want to get up and move to the guest room where I usually stream from. Wow, we're already starting out strong. I'm not drunk today, but I was super drunk yesterday and also kind of drunk this morning and I'm glad that I will be able to hear Britt laughing throughout this. I don't know if you all will, but I will. Yeah, so we did get pretty drunk to watch the premiere last night. And then we had, you know how it happens sometimes when you're like, I'm not drunk enough yet, so I'd better drink a lot, and then suddenly you're really drunk, and what you're drinking is delicious, so even though you're really drunk, you have another, which was a terrible decision. Um, yeah, anyway, the premiere happened. Honestly, I mostly thought it was boring. Like, there is all sorts of stuff that we understand to be happening now that I am not particularly excited about, but also, like, it just sounds like the whole thing's gonna be a shit show, so bring on the end, I guess? Whatever. We're gonna keep watching, probably. We're in quarantine. What else are we doing? Sorry, we're not technically in quarantine. We're self isolating, staying at home as much as possible. I did take a long walk today. That was nice. It's finally getting like warm here, so we took a walk yesterday, and then I took another walk today on my own. Britt did not want to walk, which is legit because again, we were in rough shape today, but I was in the kind of rough post-drunk state where I was like, yeah, I want to go walking for like an hour and a half. Technically, I walked for like half an hour, then I went to a park and then I lay in the grass for like 20 minutes and then I went home via shopping. I got some cookies. That was good. Um yeah, I don't really have like honestly a lot to say about the premiere or all of the behind the scenes terribleness that seems to be happening. Uh, I did not have high hopes for the season, so at this point it's like, well, I'm really glad that they finished filming before the pandemic so that this will end and we can close this chapter of our lives. Um, I should also mute my phone. Let me just give me a sec to just mute some things. Talk among yourselves. Gonna just mute that. Mute. Oh, I don't have to mute that. I should. I nearly muted my conversation with you, Britt, which, considering you were sitting next to me on the couch, I'm not real worried that you were gonna be texting me. Um, yeah. So the other dangerous thing about being out here in the living room is that normally Britt protects the stream from uh, Nike howling, demanding her treats at 8 o'clock. So we're gonna see how that works out. The cats are fighting in a cardboard box now too. I mean, they're already disruptive in the other room in their own special ways. So yeah, yeah, not a lot else going on. We've been watching a lot of Chopped. We watched some She-Ra yesterday. I continue to work. Britt continues to work. Um, yeah, I'm gonna feel better tomorrow after I've gotten farther away from the alcohol. Sort of comes and goes. And tomorrow's Friday, and it's a long weekend. I hope you have a long weekend too. Britt has an extra long weekend. She's not working tomorrow, which I'm very jealous of. But, I'm also happy for her. She gets to be free. Um, yeah. God, what time is it? This was easier when I was drunk. I was just going. I think I also was expecting to want to say more about the premiere, but again, it was just, I don't know. It didn't give me anything. I was like, man, I'm excited to see where they go with this. Which, again, I wasn't necessarily expecting them to, but by the end it was just like, oh, I guess that was the episode and that happened. Britt did time and Bellamy had about 20 seconds of screen time, most of which was him being dragged around and not actually doing anything, and probably a stunt double, I hope. Yeah, and if we didn't know about all the behind the scenes stuff, I will say that Octavia didn't get like any more screen time there, but with everything else going on, yikes. Yeah. The cats, there's a box, we got a new printer, and the box that it was in was on top of a pile of other boxes because we don't take recycling down enough. And one of the cats jumped off of our kitchen counter into the box, knocking it over, and now the large printer box is on its side, and the cats are fighting for dominance of it. Echo seems to have won for the moment because Nike is eating, but who knows what the next 20 minutes will bring. Speaking of which, this fic is about 4,500 words. And I noticed today when I was reviewing it, I've been trying not to read ones that already have podfic, and I had forgotten because my brain is no longer functional, that this one actually does have a podfic, so you should definitely listen to the podfic of this. But the rest of the ones in this series, I think, haven't been recorded, so it's still, I think that's why I was like, I should do this, but yeah. If you go to AO3, you can also find another podfic of this that will probably be better than mine because it's more coherent and actually had some sort of production value. Even if it's just having a microphone instead of just talking into my computer on my couch while my cats fight and or howl for treats. Hey, it's time to start. So this one is about 4,500 words, and obviously it is starting off our next Thursday series, so we'll have a few more of these. I did read it over this afternoon, but I've already forgotten everything, so we're going to see how this goes. So, did you know we have a rival? Asks Octavia, bright. Which of us? All of us. The entire channel has a rival, and she's going to be here. Bellamy rubs his face. They've been driving for fucking days, vlogging from the car, at gas stations, anywhere they can get some fun behind the scenes footage. Which is Bellamy's least favorite kind of footage because Octavia always catches him doing something embarrassing, like wearing his glasses or brushing his teeth or exhaustedly rambling about Greek tragedy and or the Napoleonic Wars. Oh, seriously, all I want to do is shower and pass out. Will you stop being fucking cryptic and tell me what's happening? He throws a glare at Miller for good measure. Are you filming this? I'm filming everything, Miller says. I need all the footage I can get, you know that. People love on-the-road shit. Don't worry, Stubble's a good look for you. That was really what was worrying me, he says dryly, but Miller has his number. Everyone on Team Arcade knows that Bellamy's kind of a fucking narcissist. He cares way too much about how good he looks on camera. He has groupies, okay? He has an image to maintain. For the fans. Octavia, do you actually have something to tell me, or are you just being a brat? Clark Griffin, says O, like this is something that should mean things to Bellamy. She's a cosplayer? Come on, Belle. She used to be dating, that guy who does the Nintendo remixes with the boy band hair. And then it turned out he was already dating Raven Reyes. She's like the most competitive female player of League of Legends and Hearthstone in the world or something. And she and Clark dumped him and started their own channel for Clark's cosplay shit. How do you not know any of this? How would I know any of this? He grumbles. How do you know any of this? Why do we care? 1, she's local, so we could team up. 2, she's just as popular as we are, and she's in our same niche, so people want us to be like a thing. Rivals, or BFFs, or... She's a cosplayer, he says, dismissive. So? Octavia demands. So we play video games. How do we hit the same demographics? What are we being rivals about? She's a hot nerdy girl who hangs out with another hot nerdy girl, and she dresses up like video game characters, says Miller dry. Dry? Ah. People who like girls want to make out with her, people who don't like girls just think she's cool. And Raven sometimes still does speedruns or streams of Hearthstone or whatever. There's a decent amount of crossover. You know about this too? Bellamy asks, turning into their hotel at fucking last. I like her stuff, he says, shrugging. She's an artist and does amazing costumes. Plus, Raven knows how to weld shit. It's fucking badass. God, okay, fine, he says. They're cool, they're in our demographic, good for them. Again, why do I care? Because people are really excited for us to meet them, Belle. Like, people have been speculating on if we'll get along, if we already know each other, if we hate each other, if... They can't decide if you and Griffin are going to make out or murder each other, Miller cuts in. He always appreciates Miller's willingness to drop the bullshit and just get to the point. People are planning to film your first encounter. There has been fanfiction written about this. What? He says, flat. The car has stopped, but he hasn't managed to get out yet, because Miller is filming his reaction to hearing about how people apparently ship him and some cosplayer he's never even heard of. She's cute, says Octavia. You're cute. You're both into video games. She's been single since the whole, she and Raven were dating the same guy thing. So the internet is trying to set me up, he says. He flashes a smile at Miller's camera phone. Thanks for your concern, guys, really. But I do fine. He doesn't, Octavia interjects. He's sad and alone, and no one cares about naval warfare as much as he does. Shut up and unpack the car, O. They've got one big hotel room, him and Octavia in queen beds and Miller on a cot, because Miller keeps weird hours and never sleeps anywhere normal anyway, so he doesn't care if he's just got a cot. And it saves money. They are the fucking best at trips. Because he does not sleep normally, Miller is editing car footage when Bellamy goes to sleep, but when he wakes up, the others are both asleep, and the alarm won't go off for another half an hour, so he Googles Clark Griffin. She is cute, curly blonde hair and blue eyes, not much for smiling, always serious, but she picks her characters well. She has a gorgeous set of Samus armor, and he watches a video of a hot Latina girl, Raven, explaining how it's put together with the sound off, Clark on the side, nodding and interjecting occasionally while Raven talks with her hands. He guesses he can see how they're popular, although, really, how much can anyone really get out of watching someone make cosplay outfits? Doesn't it get repetitive? Welding is badass, at least, but if Clark's just sewing and talking about it, he doesn't see how it's as cool as him and Octavia murdering people in Smash Brothers. But she is pretty cute. They're set up right across from Team Arcade. This is a thing, right? Clark asks Raven. No one from Team Arcade has showed up yet, but she knows a decent amount about them. The Boston division is the most famous part of the team. Bellamy and Octavia Blake, siblings, not a couple, like she assumed when she heard about them, and Nathan Miller, who's mostly the cameraman, but also occasionally crushes Magic the Gathering competitions and rambles about the mechanics of card games when he's drunk. Clark hasn't watched that much of their stuff, but Monty's got a crush on Miller and keeps kind of weirdly not stalking him at Magic events, and it's hard not to hear about the rest of them. There's also a New York division, which includes some weird guy named Wick Raven went to college with, so it really makes no sense that the internet has decided that, of all of the Team Arcade Craven cosplay pairings, her and Bellamy Blake is the one they're into. They've never even interacted. Never even come close. What is? Raven asks. She's setting up the green screen while Monty does the camera. Us and Team Arcade. Someone decided we should be across from each other? Oh yeah, there are like bets on what's gonna happen. Do they know you hate that guy from New York? Are they betting on that too? I think you guys are way more likely to throw down. Raven scowls. I don't hate him, she says, reflexive, and Clark hides a smile. He's just a fucking dumbass. I missed you too, Reyes, says a bright voice, and that must be the New York division, because the Blakes aren't there. Raven's not friend is tall and scruffy, smirking, and he's got another guy and a girl with him. You're seriously here? Why do you guys even have a booth? What are you doing with a booth? People want autographs, says Wick, shrugging. Plus, we've got a TV and a game system set up so you can play with whichever members of the team feel like gaming, if you're into that. I'm gonna make Bellamy play some fucking awful NES games. It's gonna be awesome. You should come stomp him. Am I the only one who doesn't know anything about this team? Clark asks. Oh hey, says Wick, grinning at her. You're Clark. You're awesome. Thanks, she says. I assume you're Wick. Yep. This is Lincoln and Monroe. Blake's are doing some sort of outside filming, which is good because I'm pretty sure if the much-hyped first meeting between you guys happens before the con even starts, everyone's going to be so pissed. I still don't know what anyone is expecting to happen, Clark says. Or why anyone is expecting it to happen. Like, how did this become a thing? It's called Bellark, says Monty. Clark loves Monty like a brother, but she is going to kill him. I don't know why it's a thing, he adds at her glare. I'm just saying it's enough of a thing that it has a name. So yeah, that's cool. It gets us hits. I'm definitely putting up you guys meeting. Again, 4 hits. It's creepy, she protests. I know it's part of being a public figure. I don't care that people want me and Raven to make out, that's fine. But I've never even met this guy, and somehow we are destined to be, and there are actual bets on what's going to happen when we meet. It's going to be so boring. He probably doesn't even care. She pauses. Not that I care either. That's why it's so weird. Uh-huh, says Raven. Of course you don't. I know you were stalking bits of him last week, but we can pretend this is not a thing. She grins, bright and totally fake. Do you need to do anything before we get started? You've got half an hour. I'm gonna hit the bathroom, Clark says, sighing. It's true, but just because, well, she is a little curious about Team Arcade, Boston Division. Maybe touch up my makeup. You look hot, as always, Raven says with a roll of her eyes. But we're all set here. Do what you gotta do. Clark likes the con before it opens best. She's not, like, famous, not an actress or an author or anything, but she's well known and always in costume, so she can't get too far without someone asking for a photo, either because the person recognizes her or just thinks she looks cool. Before anything starts, it's quiet, and she likes seeing people just doing their things, getting ready. The strange, surreal world of the pre-con con. She's leaning on the second floor railing, looking out over the floor as some company puts up a giant orc, when she hears someone say, I hear I'm gonna marry you. She glances over and sees Bellamy Blake leaning next to her. His hair is longer than in the last video she watched, and messier. He's wearing a tight, black Team Arcade t-shirt and jeans, and he has freckles. It's no surprise he's so popular. He's even more attractive in person. You heard that too, huh? She asks. Well, that or murder you, he says. Or you murder me? My sister never really specified. Definitely someone was gonna die. Maybe a murder-suicide thing, she suggests. He snorts. Awesome. Dibs on being murdered. Suicide isn't my thing. He offers his hand. Bellamy. Clark. Apparently we're supposed to meet for the first time in public. There are bets or something. I think my friends might have their own bet. We're crushing dreams right now. That's cool. I love dream crushing. He gives her a smile, and it's a very nice smile. If her only options are murdering him or making out with him, she'd rather make out. Besides, they deserve it for being creepily overinvested. Apparently. Full disclosure, I'm not really, up with the rest of the YouTube world, so I found out about this last night from my sister. Everything is new to me. You recognized me? I googled you after that, he says, shrugging one shoulder. I was curious. Clark laughs. Yeah, I guess I would have been too. She grins at him. So what are we going to do for our first meeting, since it's such a big deal for everyone? He grins back at her. Yeah, we don't want to disappoint our adoring public, right? He pulls out his phone and opens up Chrome. Let's see what they're expecting. Bellamy never likes to be in a position where the internet can say, I told you so, but he has to admit he kind of likes Clark Griffin. Like, a lot. He'd been on his way to talk to his friend at the Wizards booth when he spotted her looking out over the expo hall, and she just looked so peaceful. He was actually incapable of not going over to talk to her. And then she was pretty. It's not a word he really associates with women often. He tends to think they're cute or hot or gorgeous. But Clark is pretty, and she has a nice smile, and her laugh is low and makes him feel like he's winning something every time he gets it out of her. They lean over his phone together, checking out some actual fucking Bellark forum, giggling over weird conspiracy theory posts they find about how they're already together. Plenty of YouTubers end up getting to know each other and having relationships, just because it's a small community and then they tend to see a lot of each other at events, if they're in the same genre of vids. But it's still surreal to discover that people want them to date this much, sight unseen. I feel a little bad for not knowing today was going to be such a big deal, Clark remarks. I would have taken longer with my hair. Bellamy lets out a huff of laughter. She's dressed as Ash from Final Fantasy XII, and she looks perfect, aside from the blonde curls. I assume you're wearing a wig anyway. Yeah, she says, making a face. I need to get Raven to put on my hairnet. Oh well, it's nice to have my hair down while it lasts. She offers him a smile, and she's so pretty. He'd totally make out with her. So I'll see you in there, she continues, because she doesn't know he's thinking about making out and can have normal conversations. Looking forward to playing with you, Bellamy Blake. He finally gets himself back to the booth about 20 minutes after the expo hall opens. Octavia's signing autographs and taking selfies, and Miller is filming stuff. Bellamy slides in to sit at the TV they set up and turns it on before anyone's noticed he's there. When the first person does, there's a cheer, and some kid comes up to try to play with him. Sorry, man, he says, making his voice carry. Bellamy wouldn't be on YouTube if he wasn't a natural showman. I've actually got a first challenger all lined up. He flashes a grin. I heard there's someone here I really have to meet, and I'm hoping she's going to play a game with me. If she's willing. There's another cheer from the crowd, and of course they all know whom he means. Fucking internet. Griffin, he calls. The crowd parts, and there she is across from him, in her wig, raising her eyebrows at him. Nice to meet you. I'm Bellamy Blake. You want to play? Polite people don't yell, she says, sounding amused. She stands and walks over, sits down delicately in the beanbag chair next to him, mindful of her costume. She offers her hand. Hi. Hi, I hear I'm going to marry you, he says. I wish someone had told me. Ash even has a wedding costume. I could have dressed for the occasion. Fail, he says, shaking his head. What are we playing, Wick? Wick was conferring with Miller, but they stopped to watch the show. Miller's squinting at them wary, but he doesn't say anything about the act. Wick is fucking grinning. The crowd around them is growing, and they're eating it up. He and Clark are popular. Weirdest fighting game I could find, says Wick. Balls 3D. What kind of game is this? Asks Clark, wary. Is fighting a euphemism? Please tell me we're not doing some weird Atari porn. You wish, says Wick, and tosses her controller. Atari porn is probably an improvement. The game is a bunch of weird fighters, vaguely humanoid fighters who are made of a bunch of balls and keep stretching and moving in truly bizarre ways. There's no indication of what any of the buttons do, or what any of them do in terms of the game mechanics, and their match is just the two of them madly button mashing and laughing their asses off at how fucking absurd it is. The models are hideous, the moves are inexplicable, and there's a sign at the back that keeps displaying really fucking bizarre and sort of dirty messages. Bellamy wins without even being confident he was doing anything. Clark scowls at him, but there's a sparkle in her eye. You were cheating. How would I even cheat? I'm not sure which one I was. So maybe you didn't win. I'm player 1, player 1-1. With cheating. We're doing 2 out of 3. I picked the wrong fighter. And you're cheating. You really think I would cheat at Balls 3D? If I'm going to cheat, it's going to be at something important. So if Bellamy Blake is ever an important event, he's definitely cheating, says Clark. You heard it here first. She nudges his foot with hers, which was not something they discussed, and it makes him feel warm and stupid with it. Come on, Blake. 2 of 3. She trash talks the whole time, distracts him enough with fucking vulgar language and created ball-based insults, and her genuine crow of delight when she wins the match makes his stupid heart turn over. She lives near him. She's cool and fun and pretty, and she's going back to the same place he is after this. He could call her. He could ask her to have dinner with him. Anything is possible. She stands, takes a bow for the audience, and then leans back down and pecks him on the cheek. Nice to meet you, Bellamy. Better luck next time. Miller posts a picture on the team Twitter account with the hashtag Bellark. If Bellamy wasn't still kind of gaping, he'd murder him. So, when did you meet him? Raven asks. They're letting Monty run the booth while they grab lunch. Clark keeps meeting Bellamy's eyes when she looks up and smiling, and she honestly needed a break from that. He's fucking cute and he knows it. Who? She asks. But she doesn't even know why. Plain dumb never works on Raven. You saw when I met him, she relents when Raven just continues glaring at her. And then, finally, I ran into him when I was going to the bathroom. Or he came over to say hi, I guess. Raven keeps frowning and Clark glares back. It's true! Seriously? When else would I have met him? Honestly, that was like 3rd date flirting you guys were doing. I figured you met him back home and decided to fucking troll us. Clark chokes on a sandwich. What? Come on, you guys were all... Look, I wasn't on the whole if they ever meet they will bang or fight train, but you guys are definitely gonna bang. I'm amazed you haven't already. It's been like 4 hours and we've been working, Clark says dryly. At what point would I have banged him exactly? So you're saying you're going to, you just haven't gotten the chance yet. Clark rolls her eyes. You know this is one of those conversations I can't win, right? No matter what I say, you're just going to take it as evidence you're right, so let's just skip it. She waves her hand. Congratulations, you win at talking. Good job. There's a long pause, and Raven says, I give you until the end of the weekend. Tops. She makes a show of considering it. Depends on if he has his own room or not. It's a joke mostly, but it's a little bit true. Clark's sharing with Raven, and while she could theoretically kick her out to get laid, it seems pretty rude. Raven doesn't have anywhere else to go. Also, she'd have to explain why she was kicking her out, and that would be, well, awkward. Not that Bellamy said anything. But if he did, well, Clark would. Assuming they had somewhere to go. And given Raven's apparently willing to take one for the team in the most unsubtle way possible, they very well might. Clark supposes she can't blame her for being obvious about it. She took a couple more breaks to play games with Bellamy over the course of the day, and they were like fucking teenagers, jostling each other's shoulders for an excuse to touch each other, teasing and flirting, and generally being stupidly into each other. Raven showed her some kid's grainy YouTube video of the two of them captioned, "Is this real life?" And then Clark took it over to show to Bellamy. Because she is more than a little pathetic. After a day. You guys can handle the rest of cleanup, right? Raven asks, clapping her on the shoulder at close. It's mostly done. Wick is buying me a drink, but I don't want him to think it's a date, so I'm taking everyone else. And you two disappeared this morning, so you're on close. It's totally fair. I'm the most logical. And then they leave, without waiting for a response. So, which forum do you think she posts her fanfic to? Clark asks. It's not like there's a whole lot of cleanup to do, since they'll just be back tomorrow, and the expo hall is closed and locked. Just tidying and hiding the valuables they're leaving. Bellamy snorts. Why, do you want to read it? It's weird, right? He doesn't say anything for a long time, long enough that Clark is getting irrationally nervous. She didn't say anything offensive, right? It is weird. She's about to change the subject when he says, well, I wish I'd met you sooner. Or, known about you. She wets her lips. Well, this is what you get for not Googling Bellamy Blake fanfiction. And despite that, I'm gonna keep never Googling it. Probably a good call. He's apparently done with his side because he comes over to help her with the green screen. He's not quite as tall as she expected him to be when they were bent over together, but he's broad and solid and she can feel the heat coming off him. He smells amazing. So, if you'd known about me, would you have called me up? She asks, as casual as she can manage. Probably not, he says, smiling at her ruefully. Not, based on the internet thinking we should get married. But I would have been pretty curious. I hated the first video I saw of you. He laughs, bright and not at all offended. Yeah? Which one? It was you streaming World of Warcraft PvP, I think? Just like crushing newbies for fun, totally cocky, lots of trash talk. Oh, like you're one to talk about trash talk, he teases. So I thought you were some kind of douche, but then Raven made me watch some of the behind-the-scenes stuff. He rubs his face, flushing, and embarrassed is a nice look on him. He's cute when he's flustered. Oh, God. So, public persona, cocky dick. Private persona, still kind of a cocky dick, but also kind of a cute nerd. Cute nerd, huh? She flicks his temple. I dig glasses. He glances around, checking to see if the other merchants have left, and he must be satisfied because he leans in and kisses her. It's a fairly quick kiss, chaste, more of a question than anything, but Clark slides her hand onto his neck as he pulls away and keeps him there, searching up to kiss back, and that's all the encouragement he needs to wrap his arms around her and really go for it. He's a good kisser, dominant without being demanding, moving his hands up and down her back like he isn't happy with just her mouth on his, needs more. They make out her booth until they hear someone clear their throat, and turn with identical guilty expressions to the security guard. We need to lock up in here, says the guy, in a bored tone. You guys done here? Clark glances at Bellamy. Her hands messed up his hair even more, and he definitely looks well kissed. Yeah, she says, reaching down to take his hand. We can be somewhere else, right? He grins. Lead the way. Okay, says Bellamy, clapping his hands. We've got a special guest star today. Try not to get too excited, okay? It's creepy. Off-screen, Clark rolls her eyes at him, and he can't help grinning. Seriously, though, it is. I promise my life is not that exciting. You don't have to get over-invested in it. But my girlfriend is here, and she is going to play Mario Party with me. This is us testing our relationship. For real. We've been going out for a couple months, and I'm pretty crazy about her. So if we can finish a game of Mario Party, I think we can make it through anything. If she murders me, I'll have it on video, so Octavia won't have any trouble prosecuting. So, yeah, he says at Miller's hurry-up gesture. You guys ready? You know you aren't filming in front of a live studio audience, right? No one is going to answer you, says Clark, flopping down next to him on the couch. Bellamy puts his arm around her and kisses her temple. I live every day like I'm in front of a live studio audience, he says. I know. It's one of the hardest things to deal with in this relationship. She smiles and waves at the camera. Hi, I'm Clark. Just remember, Internet, it's not nice to say I told you so, says Bellamy. Also, the first person to call us Team Bellarcade already got kicked in the shins, so if you do it, it's not clever, and we will hunt you down. The preferred portmanteau YouTube channel name is actually Bellarcade Cosplay co-starring Raven Reyes, says Clark, straight-faced, and Bellamy shoves her away. God, we're gonna break up before we even start playing Mario Party, aren't we? I thought we broke up already, she says, grabbing her controller and settling back in, right against his side. He's not going to tell her he loves her for the first time while they're filming a dumb bit, but she's perfect, and he absolutely does. Oh, right, how could I forget? Well, you guys can at least stay tuned to see if she murders me. I think the tape will prove you deserve it if I do, so I feel good about this. Bring it on, Blake. Bellamy grins at the camera, knows from years and years of experience on film exactly how goofy he looks. So, yeah, this is my girlfriend, he says. I feel good about this, too. Okay, that is the end of that fic. Recording on the couch is weird. Who knows if I'll do it more. Have a good Thursday. I'll see y'all on Sunday. Good night.